Good morning. Hello. Happy December what day is it? I believe it is the 4th. Yep, it is December the 4th. All righty. Margaret Lloyd here with Eternal Shift, A New Life with Snickers is going to join us today. Okay, so we're going to talk about chasing success and happiness and why it's unsuccessful and why it will make you miserable. So let's work on this. This was an article that I read this morning. Actually, it's an article that I listened to this morning on Stoic wisdom and found this article through that. So, if you live just for today, to make today the most successful, happy day of your life, I'm sure that you will have an extraordinary life. A successful life is nothing more than a series of successful days. And that's absolutely true. So this is an article by Alexander Hein. In the last 2 years, I was obsessed with finding success and happiness because I didn't have much of either. And I too was in that same boat. I was feeling lost in life, stuck, had no idea which way to go, was going through a divorce, lost, didn't know what to do. And I also was struggling with one big thing that many people complain of today. I was trying to find the meaning of life. And that's how I got obsessed with finding happiness. I was also at a crossroads in another part of my life. Work, I didn't have any work. I was retired. Which I'm glad I was retired because my work had been a massive source of unhappiness, unsuccessful unhappiness. I was working incredibly hard, but on things I didn't really care about. And if you don't care about it, why do it? So I decided to jump ship and start my own thing, doing this podcast and learning as well as sharing what I'm learning. And that's how I got obsessed with finding successful things. Success and what we're all obsessed with. Who doesn't want to be successful? I mean, ego aside, even spiritual folks want to be successful. We all have to pay bills, right? Even if we don't like money, we all need as much as possible as the next person. I've got car payments to make, rent. I have holidays, grandkids to buy presents for. My hair's falling out. I gotta get some biotin, something to keep my hair from falling out. And I want to be able, at my age, I should be traveling. My stepsister and her husband, all they do is, they have an RV and all they do is travel around the country visiting their family. Except me, but that's okay. They'll visit me one day. I want to travel and see the world, see my family. I got family all over this country. I just can't afford to travel. I figured why not just learn everything it takes to be successful instead of struggling my whole life. So I did what anyone else would do. I got obsessed with success. Well, I'm not obsessed with success. I just know that I need success in my life to have what I need. Not necessarily want, but need. How it began is I started doing journaling. I started listening to podcasts of successful people and motivation, listening to psychologists and psychiatrists to help me with my depression and anxiety. There's some dummy color. Okay. A little bit over a year passed, and an interesting realization occurred for him. He realized he was completely miserable and not one step closer to success than he was before. Me, I'm getting there, but it's slow. Interesting enough, the same thing happened when I searched for happiness. Always searching for happiness? There's my baby. Happiness is what we all feel we deserve and want, no matter how much success we have. You can have success in so many ways and still not be happy. I was successfully married to a man for 38 years. And of that 38 years, it was miserable. Probably half of it. Happiness. It's what we all feel we deserve and want, no matter how much success we have. When life gets tough, we just tell ourselves, I just want to be happy, nothing else. No, you want more than just happiness. You want everything that comes along with happiness, which is success, contentment, feeling of belonging, feeling of contentment. Ironically, happiness, which is one of the most fundamental states of being, is notoriously absent from modern day life. And absolutely, because we just rush. We don't take time to be happy. We take time to push. I mean, just hop on over to Amazon and type in happiness. Look what the first 7 search results are. Happiness, a guide to developing life's most important skill. Happiness Project, the Happiness Advantage. The Happiness Hypothesis, finding modern truth in ancient wisdom. The Happiness Trap, how to stop struggling and start living. Stumbling on happiness. The how of happiness. Does anyone else that think this is absolutely insane? Yeah, you find that on Amazon? You can buy that? No, you can't. You can't buy happiness. The most basic, fundamental state of being in life is being happy. It's something we experience so little these days that we have to go looking for it. All right, so many of us are unhappy in our lives. Not surprising, but here's the problem. Okay, it's a voicemail. I can wait and listen to that later. Alrighty. Don't need that. Okay. When you're lacking something, what's the first thing you do? You go looking for it. And that's exactly how I got into this predicament in the first place. Because we go looking for success. We go looking for happiness. You can't look for it. You have to make it happen. And only you can make it happen. Why the Western way of life is killing us. Absolutely. Our American way of life is killing us. We eat too much fat. We eat too much processed foods. We just do too much stuff that's not good for us. We thought it would be good for us, but it's not. So I began to wonder, what am I doing wrong? If pursuing happiness and success isn't bringing me happiness and success, I'm obviously doing something wrong. Time to switch strategies. And that's when I came upon a little article that compared the Western approach to life to that of Taoism, which went something like this. In the West, we encourage goal setting. In fact, we're obsessed with goals. That end point we are striving so hard to reach. We jump through hoop after hoop after hoop, stepping stone after stepping stone, sacrificing everything just to get to that finish line. But once we get there, we realize our thinking was flawed. Now we're unhappy again and need to set another goal. No, we don't. We just spent however many hours or years sacrificing our health, our happiness, our every single day to reach some goal. Why? Only to realize that it was the hours, days, months, years we skipped that actually was our life. We become obsessed with the goal, the outcome, and forget that the 364 days are much more important than reaching that goal on the 365th day. The result is we're miserable. We burn out. We hate our lives. And we are miserable because we're chasing goals. But there's another way. In Taoism, there's no defining purpose of life, no goal, no end point. So you have no choice but to live today how you want your life to go. So if you live every day in a good way, your goal, you'll find your happiness and success. You have no choice but to be happy right now. So in the West, the goal becomes the defining purpose of your life. In Taoism, life becomes the defining purpose of your life. Crazy? Right. The error in both of my plans exposed. My relentless ambition was making me miserable. I was so focused on that end goal, being self-employed, that I turned something that started out as a want to into a have to. I sacrificed my happiness because I told myself a huge lie, that only the end mattered and that the process had to be ignored. Nope, it's the process is what matters. So I stopped seeing my friends as much to pour every hour of my free time into work, hoping that it would set me free later. I started reading happiness books. The idea that looking for happiness and having a goal of being happy would actually lead me there. I had it all backwards. When you focus on the goal, you become myopic. Nothing now matters. Just that tiny point at the end. Ironically, this is the exact way to sabotage yourself. Never reach that end. How many miserable days are you willing to put up with before you tell yourself that the goal isn't worth it anymore? The real secret to success and happiness. How to have your cake and eat it. I decided to spend some months reflecting and revisited this idea of Western goals versus Eastern journey. Journey is best. What I found is very interesting. Book after book, profiling successful people repeated the same thing over and over. Very few of the most successful people on earth actually planned on being successful. They just loved the game, the day-to-day of business, and doing something they enjoyed. Interesting. As I kept diving deeper and deeper into books and literature, three themes repeatedly emerged: flow, intrinsic motivation, and intuition. Flow is the state where you're totally zoned into whatever you're doing. You know when you're playing a sport, doing something creative, or reading an incredibly good book, and time evaporates. That's flow. Flow, aside from being a state where we're generally most happy, is also a state where learning is accelerated. It's our most efficient spot to be working in. Many of the happy and successful I read about had an insane fire for what they were doing. Days would evaporate as they worked on a project in their garage, programmed something new, or planned their next move. Intrinsic motivation. Intrinsic motivation is where you want to do something because you enjoy it and are inherently interested in it without any desire to be rewarded for the work. This is very closely aligned with flow. Basically means that you are going with activities you find rewarding to do right now rather than activities you find rewarding because later you're going to get some kind of reward, accolade, or praise for them. Virtually all of the successful I read about had a high degree of internal fire about the subject and work they were pursuing. The irony is that there's a growing body of research showing that intrinsically motivated people are not only happier, but actually make more money in their lifetimes too. Intuition, that indescribable feeling of knowing what we need to do or knowing what the next step is. The people that were profiled repeatedly mentioned that instead of logical reasoning and trying to figure out the best path forward, They just sat down and asked, what do I really want? Usually the answer is clear almost immediately. And what is it that we all want? Let's just say it, happiness and success. And I believe in that order. I believe happiness can lead to success. Excuse me, got to blow the nose. These three things, flow, intrinsic motivation, and intuition, all have one thing in common. None of them focus on the pursuit of anything. They focus on maximal engagement right now. When looking for success and happiness, remember this. Forget them in order to find them. Success and happiness are actually very closely aligned. My one key revelation here for finding both success and happiness was simple yet paradoxical. When you stop pursuing success and happiness, you end up focusing on activities that make you enjoy your day-to-day life. You focus on flow-producing activities that intrinsically motivate you. You become obsessed with the process. The 364 days that you take to the 365th rather than focusing on the 365th and ignoring the other 364 days. Paradoxically, when you just focus on the activities that result in maximal engagement, enjoyment, and flow, happiness first, and success come as natural side effects. That's awesome. That's what we have to work towards. And it's not work. You'll realize you don't have to search for them after all. What has your experience been with trying to look for happiness and success? Do you think it's possible to look for them and find them? I think if we look for them or look at them more as something to do on a daily basis, then we can keep searching for our happiness, and our happiness will land in our laps. I believe if you and I keep doing this, keep working together on these goals, and we're not working together on goals. We're working together to find our true happiness, our true success. We will be there. I do feel that I am happy. I am successful in what I'm doing. I'm talking with you. I talk with you every day because I know that what I'm doing is good for me and it's good for you. It brings us closer to our realization of true happiness, our true goals, our true life. True life is what we're searching for. We want our true life to be happy, and it will be happy. I know, because I'm feeling it already. I feel so happy to just be alive. I am so happy to be alive. And I'm getting ready to do up some Christmas cards this afternoon. And it's going to be fun. I love sharing Christmas with my friends and family members, and I hope they all appreciate it. I know I do. I know I enjoy getting cards from friends and family for Christmas. And it is that time of year. As you see, I have my Dallas Cowboy Christmas tree. I'm going to have to find a good place for it to display. So you all have a blessed day. Peace and love forever.